All right, if you guys hear that intro music, you know what time it is. It is Thursday. You are in the place to be. This is the Locker Room Show. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood, and we're bringing it to you guys live. This isn't recorded. Well, some of you guys may see this recorded, but this is live. This is the Locker Room Show, and this is where you come to get your football education, your football guidance, your football know-how, so you can take it to the next level. So first and foremost, let me introduce the gentleman that you see to my far right. This is my boy, the one that I've known for, I don't know, almost 2 decades now, has held me down year after year, and that is none other than Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, it's another Thursday.
It's another Thursday again, man. So we got another hot one. We got some good topics. We gonna get right into it. We about to break the huddle and get right into it. Up top, right away.
Over the top right away, and we coming
First
at your
play,
defense.
all nine.
And we on offense, but we got somebody in the middle of the screen that knows a lot about all positions of the football field. But right now, you guys, he is coaching the defensive backs for the Eastern Washington Eagles. This is Big Sky Conference, so this is big boy ball. This is Division I FCS. They're always at the top of the FCS and the Big Sky. Coach has coached at very good universities. He's a former Division I player himself from Boise State University, and that is none other than Coach Wes Nurse. How's it going tonight, Coach?
It's going well. It's going well. You gave me way too much of an intro. I'm just here doing my part.
You said I'm here not to get fined, huh?
I make sure I coach the corners and whatnot, and I'm good.
There you go.
Well, we're excited to have you. A big play in school, like a big play, and just don't say nothing. Just go right back to the huddle.
Oh yeah,
I like that. Though. See, I act a fool. I'll play a play.
do your part, man. It's coming. It's coming. It's a matter of when.
There you go. And if you guys can't tell, Coach has blessed us tonight, you guys, because in the background, it may look a little bit like a hotel, and that's exactly what it is, because he's on the road. He's doing his recruiting thing, and he's trying to find the next superstar for Eastern Washington University. So if you guys aren't familiar, once again, Coach Nurse is a big-time coach. I know we'll have some recruits. I know we'll have some parents watching tonight, and you guys are in store for a treat, because a lot of you guys got questions. A lot of you guys got questions about how this all works. For those that don't know, Eastern Washington, we may have some Southern boys or some East Coast boys that watch this and aren't familiar with Eastern Washington, but it is the home of the great Cooper Kupp. And some big-time football, you guys, being played out of Eastern Washington. So I want to get into it. And for those that are joining us for the first time, all of our topics that are going to be covered are on the ticker below, so you guys know what's coming. And we cover the topics that are trending and important to the football players, parents, and coaches out there. So once again, a great show lined up for you. And let's get into it, you guys. Coach Nurse. Right there on the bottom, we're talking about the move to become a coach. And you've coached at a few universities. I believe started off at Carroll. You've been at North Dakota State. You've been at UC Davis, where I got a chance to meet you, Cal Poly. So talk to me, Coach, because a lot of guys have trouble with that transition. What made the light bulb come on for you to say coaching is the route I need to go?
That's a great question, because for me, it didn't even happen probably until I got done with playing football. I always, coaches always thought I did a decent job as far as communicating to the other players while I played and trying to teach them the ways of what we're trying to do and how we're doing it. And I never really thought of it very much different as just trying to make sure guys know what they're doing, so we go out there and execute at a high level. But I got my first probably real experience. I got done playing at Boise, and I had one more class to take that summer, and so our defensive coordinator at the time, Ron Collins, decided he wanted to ask me if I wanted to coach on one of the renegade teams at the Boise State camp. And I had class like middle of the day, so it didn't interfere with nothing. So I did that and found real joy in teaching those guys and being out there every day on the grass, obviously not playing, but still involved in a lot of different things. And then after that, I actually took an interview in Chicago for a sports marketing firm there and did like a 3-day deal and got the job. And at the end of it, I was like, you know what, this is not for me, because I felt like I wanted to coach. And then I got
Was that a
back.
family member or somebody kind of guiding you, or did you
This
just?
was me on my own. I wanted to branch out and do something different, because obviously I grew up in the Northwest. I'm originally from Federal Way, Washington, which is about 15 minutes south of Seattle. And so want to do something different, and then decided that I wasn't for me. And then I actually moved home for a couple of weeks, and then my head coach at the time, Dan Hawkins, gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to coach high school football, be the defense coordinator for a high school football team in Boise, and I did that, and I've been coaching since.
Wow, that's amazing, Coach. And right there, you guys might not have caught it, but he played for Dan Hawkins at Boise. And then look, years later, he's getting a coaching opportunity. This man's putting money in his pocket twice. So you guys got to pay attention to that. So that's big time coaching. Do you feel like since you've been on this journey that it was the wise move to make?
I think so. I found joy in what I do every day, and I enjoyed the people that we met over the time. And you can't. Every experience is different, and good, bad, and different. I enjoyed all of them because in each experience it taught me something I need to know to get to this point right now. And this is the journey that I chose, and I'm very blessed to be a part of this, because without this journey, I wouldn't be married. I wouldn't have 3 kids, and be living our best life. So
there you go.
It's an awesome experience.
Amazing right there. So there you guys have it. Some of you guys might be thinking about coaching in the future, and you're getting some nuggets right there from Coach. We are on to our next topic, guys, and this one is one that many of you guys might not know about, but there is another college football team coming to Division I football, you guys. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. It looks like they're going to be in the WAC. The WAC's making a comeback, and Texas. If you figured there was going to be another D1 team, then you had to figure it was probably going to be Texas. So I wanted to ask you guys, and we'll start off with you, Q. And it looks like the group that is really kicking this off did this before at UTSA. So I want to ask you, Q, do we have room for more D1 teams in Texas? Is this something that's going to fall on its face, or is this something that the guru approves of?
I approve. I mean, it's Texas and it's football. It's going to win some kind of way. I mean, this is to many view as the mecca of football. So, they're going to have the facilities. They're going to have the financial backing. They're never going to run short of talent. So it's something that, I think is a great way to give more kids an opportunity to play on the D1 level. So, yeah, I see nothing but clear sailing. I mean, if I'm a kid, I'm Texas from Texas. I don't want to, and maybe being recruited by the A&Ms or the Lions or something like that. It's another opportunity to be able to stay home, but my family catches all these home games.
There you go. Coach, talk to me a little bit. I mean, they may come knocking on your door and say, hey, be our defensive coordinator. Is this something that you think we're going to see some more expansion at the college level, or you think this is kind of an anomaly?
No, it's not an anomaly, because Texas in general has added about 3 teams over the last probably 10 years with UTSA and then Carnegie Ward and now Rio Grande Valley. So I think they're doing a great job of really emphasizing what's important, which is really, in the end of the day, is getting more and more young men together to go towards a common goal and be good citizens, getting out in the community through football, and it's unfortunate because in California, they discontinued a lot of football, and in Texas, they're kind of raising it back up. And it's a great way to get young men together and get them going towards a common goal. Like we talk about all the time is, how can we get all these young men to try to do something positive? And this is one of the best things in the world. Besides the military, this is the biggest organization you can do as far as with men that you can do in the country, which is awesome. And the more football you can have, I think the better off you're going to be.
Facts.
No, that's a great point right there, Coach. I mean, it's going to put some jobs down in Texas for people and more opportunity for you young football players. We see some people joining in. I got the great Coach Falls saying, let's go. I know that he's making some college decisions with his son. And the mother-in-law says, back for another great show. One of the biggest football enthusiasts I know. So we see her out there. We are on to our next topic, you guys. And this one, I'm very, very excited to get your feedback on, Coach, because you've been on both sides of football. You've been on the side where you got the helmet on and you're paying some dues, and then you've been on the side where you're giving out scholarships and you're currently recruiting as we speak. So I want to start with you, Coach Nurse. Football attributes that garner your respect. Give us a couple in your football mind that you say, you know what, this teammate I respect, or this player that I'm coaching, I respect this young man.
I think the one thing you always have to respect is somebody's everyday grind on what they do. And it doesn't matter if they're a scholarship player. It doesn't matter if they're a walk-on player. It doesn't matter if they're a non-paid assistant or the head coach. You understand that in football, that a lot of things that are seen are on the game field on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or if you're going action Tuesdays, that's what people see. What they don't see is what happens behind the curtain in the dark, what the work that goes in every day to get to that point every time. Some guys may be injured all week, and then the only way they can get on the field is by training in the training room every day, 3-4 treatments a day. Guys may just step into a new position, like say, for example, a quarterback gets hurt. Now the backup has to get ready to go all weekend. He's in there all day watching film, trying to make sure he's on it as much as he can, and guys staying ready at all times. I mean, we kind of nice little example, obviously, with the NBA Finals with the Lonnie Walker deal. But that guy stay ready so you don't have to get ready, and that same thing on the football field too. Guys train all the time. When they step in the fray and they get opportunity, you got to take full advantage of your opportunity. And I think you never stop looking at people's grind and what they do, no matter what position it is. The guys that are putting in the work, and the guys that are going to get it done, and the guys that you're going to trust when the chips are down, and who's going to be your foxhole in the end.
Great point. Great point right there. Q, we talk on and off the air about dogs, people we respect, whether we knew them, whether we didn't know them, we played with them, Morian Norris or some of the other players that we've talked about. In your mind, when you think back to your days at Kansas, what made you respect some of your teammates the most?
It was just the ones that you saw being accountable, the ones that, stayed after practice, and was still getting in extra 110s, or, your receivers or your DBs, staying on the jugs machine, after practice, or getting practice early and getting work in before practice. Guys you see that aren't, skipping workouts. Summer workouts were a big deal, preparing yourself for the upcoming season. So I mean, people start to separate themselves, who you really have respect. Usually that's your ones. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but for the most part, that's your ones. That's why the ones are the ones. And sometimes and threes are the 2s and 3s because of that. Not all the time, but 99% of the time, that's what it is.
Yeah, the beauty of football, no matter the higher levels you go, the difference in athleticism becomes smaller and smaller every place. And so the separations in the preparation. Obviously the guy that's put kind of Eastern Washington on the map a little bit just lately is Cooper Kupp. If you heard the stories about that individual, how he was around the facility, that guy was a tireless worker. Obviously he's got stats to prove everything, but the work he put in, from what I heard from behind the scenes, was absolutely unreal from what I can tell. And he took what he had his ability to be and made it extraordinary in a lot of ways. And if you look at any program, the guys that really become that extra piece of somewhere, that guy, man, why is he doing that? Because he's putting in that extra work he needs to be better, to be that one tick better than that next guy. Because like this, the athleticism is very similar as you get higher and higher. NFL, college football, everything else. But once you get to that next level, how you get that next level is through the preparation. That I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Great point right there, coach. And you guys are getting it right here from a Division I coach. This is what he respects. So you want that bag, you want that opportunity to hit the field, then this is what you got to do. This is how you got to move. Munoz family, we see you. We're talking about Texas, another college program coming your way. So greetings from the great Munoz family in Texas. So we are on to our next topic, you guys. And this one is managing culture. Managing culture, a lot of things going on in Athens, Georgia, and unfortunately, Georgia wide receiver Denylon Morissette arrested on multiple driving-related charges. This has been an ongoing topic in Athens, Georgia. Another Georgia player arrested on driving-related charges. Unfortunately, they've had a staffer and a player pass away because of speed racing. We all know that Jalen Carter had issues, and there was some draft discussion about him slipping because his involvement in that. So 4 driving issues with and once again, somebody passing away with the University of Georgia since the national championship. Q. So does the University of Georgia have a little bit of a culture issue in your mind, Q?
I mean, of course they do. That's the thing. When you playing on that level, especially when you're in a Power Five, and you've seen that type of success, it's easy for it to go to these young men's heads that when I go out into the community, it's like I'm a bulldog. I can do whatever I want out here, And unfortunately, in a lot of ways, people allow them to be just like that. So it's only a matter of time where you start to see instances like this where people are getting hurt and in some cases even killed. So I look at the coaches and I look at the athletic director not to be able to see, hey, we have a pattern and put our heads together. What exactly are we going to do about it? How do we tighten the reins in regards to, curfew or maybe you can't have a car, if you're a freshman or a sophomore, whatever the case may be, but they need to put something together because this is going to be ongoing until they recognize that they do have a culture issue. You can't fix a problem if you can't even recognize it in the first place.
Good point right there. Talk to me a little bit, Coach. I mean, does the wins, does baggage off the field come with wins? Is that how it is? Or how can I manage culture as a big-time Power 5 coach?
I think, and this is a question probably different for everybody, but the simple fact is that when you put on the helmet of anywhere you go, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing what's on the front of you, and you represent what's on the back of you. So you represent the family that's in front of you, which is, for this instance, Georgia, and the young men's their name on the back, which is their families. And so for them to understand the totality of the situation is truly understand, like, hey, this is bigger than you at the end of the day, and you got to make smarter decisions. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, people get hurt, people have passed away from these things, and nobody wants that to happen. And like this, if you've been a college football player, you feel like you're Superman some days. You feel like you're invincible. But the problem is we're all still people. And so we got to take the right precautions to do these things. I had a young man, unfortunately, in Carroll when I was coaching him. He was driving under the influence and got into a big car wreck, and a girl passed away in that car wreck. And luckily he didn't die as well, along with another girl in there too. So, I mean, it hits when that story with Jalen Walker hits home, it hits home in a big way. And it's one of those things where, we see it. There's probably a little bit of an issue. Obviously, there's 100+ guys, so obviously you're taking the 4 out of the 100. So the numbers are minimal. Yes, but it's probably too many numbers. Because obviously, if that was the case, you hear about everywhere. But at the same time, we got to keep educating ourselves and keep doing the right things and keep educating our young men that these things can't be accepted because it's bigger than you. So when you make decisions, can't just think about what you want to do. You got to think about what's going to happen to everybody and how they're going to be viewed.
Right.
That's amazing feedback right there, Coach. And unfortunately, like Coach said, there's somebody that's passed away, a staffer, a player. There's been players questioned by police. There's players still getting arrested in Georgia. So, I understand 2 championship wins, but obviously something's going on a little bit there at UGA. So hopefully Coach Kirby figure out. He's figuring out those offenses they're blitzing. We are on to our next topic, you guys, and this is the perfect gentleman to have on with us. I know we've got young athletes and parents watching live. I know we've got young athletes and parents that will watch later on, and we're talking a little early playing time vibes, with Coach Nurse. And Coach, we not that far away. We ain't that far away from the season.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you guys are going to begin the training camp soon. I know you just got done with spring ball. So when you sitting back, you obviously want to keep your paychecks coming, and you might have to dive in to letting a young cat on the field. What's the early playing time vibes that you need to see before you put a young buck on the field?
I think number one is seeing, and Q already hit on already, just the accountability, right? Is there early accountability of being on time, being ready to go for meetings, have utensils ready when you do stuff. When you ask them questions in meetings room, do they have the right answer? And when you have them in there, really it comes down to, okay, are they doing the right stuff when they're out there? That's probably the couple of the things you first succeed. Number 3 or 4 in that deal, are they prepared physically too? I mean, that's the one thing. More and more of these kids want to get to these schools early, rather when they get done with high school and get into the training and ready to play, which is perfectly fine. And I got no problem with it, because basically we're going to play the best guys. No matter where you are in the country, we're going to play the best guys. If a fifth-year guy has been messing around and not being accountable and not doing stuff, but a freshman's willing to go out there and put in the work and do things, we're probably going to play the freshman a lot of different times. Especially now with the ability to play all these guys 4 games, if we really want to see if they can adjust. You have the guys' ability to play early. It's very huge.
Yeah.
When we were playing, if you played 1 snap, you were dead. And so that's why you had probably more guys in our realm redshirt, because literally we couldn't get game experience, because we got game experience and we automatically had to play. So therefore we kind of had to get thrusted in there. But now we can kind of give these guys a little taste and see where they're at. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. We let them play 1 or 2 games and then get them out, and then they're ready to go. But if they're ready to roll and we think they're talented enough and steady enough and prepared enough to go out there, then we can let it fly. But we got a little grace period with these 4 games now that we can utilize during the year. So it's awesome.
So how does that evolution take place? Are you guys tagging kids as they're coming in through the recruiting class, like this may be an early kid, or is it the position coach tapping the head coach like he's ready?
I think it works both ways. I think when you first initially recruit some guys, like friend, you're at Alabama, you recruit a 5-star kid. Well, that kid ain't say he's a running back, right? Running backs have a long shelf life anyway, but that kid's 5'11" and 210. Man, he looks ready to roll. Like, hey, this is one guy we bring in that may have an opportunity. Then obviously, as you get into camp, there may be a kid that, hey, he may not seem like he was ready to go early on when we recruit him and he committed. But then when you get through the summer and start getting through training, like, hey, coach, this guy maybe have a chance, on that deal. And we always have those talks in any discussion, pretty much, and like probably any football team after any scrimmage right during the summer. Like, hey, where we sit here with these guys, and kind of honestly go rolling Rolodex, and then, hey, make sure if this guy gets hurt, this guy's ready to go. One of those things, because obviously you would love for all these guys to grow up and get some time, some grace period as 18-year-olds to kind of settle in. But at the same time, like, hey, we're in the business of winning and putting the best product out on the field for our team and for our community and for our fans. So it's our job too to find out who can play.
And special teams probably if they start making some plays on special teams.
Special teams is big. Special teams is big.
Yeah. Speed up the process for you young bucks out there. So, hey, he's giving you the game. Right there. That's why we're asking the question. So if you guys get fortunate enough to play at a school like Eastern Washington, you're playing at the University of Washington, you know what these coaches are looking for. So we are on to our next topic, you guys, and breezing through tonight's show. Hopefully you guys are getting a ton of value. And we are on to our lightning round, you guys. Our lightning round is one of our fan favorite portions of the show. And we are excited on the show, and he's going to go through the lightning round for the very first time. So if you're joining us for the first time, you guys, the lightning round is our word association portion of the show. There may be some of his players watching this. There may be some assistant coaches watching this, and they wondering what's going through Coach Nurse's head. We're about to find out because I got some questions for him. So he's in the hotel, and the family's at the house. And we got Dad with us right here, about to put him through a little word association. So 60 seconds, 60 seconds, PG 13 and below to the PG. And we're going to find out what's on Coach's mind. So you ready to go, Coach?
Oh, yeah, always.
Here we
go.
Here we go.
So we got our list. Let me get all ready and set up here. I got my stopwatch. And Coach was a DB, so I know he put up some 40 times in his day. Let's see.
Let's get it going.
All right. He's at zeros right there, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the first thing on your mind, Coach. So unfiltered, uncensored, give it to us. What you think? And I got some people on here. I got some situations, and we're going to get it going. So, all right. Number one. All right. First thing on your mind, Coach. Boise, Idaho. Go.
Blue turf.
Big Sky Conference.
Offensive league.
Hard shell taco or soft shell taco?
Oh, soft shell, baby. Let's go.
Jalen Ramsey.
Woo. Tough one. Jaguar fan. Can't deal with it.
Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson?
I'll go Morgan Freeman.
Dan Hawkins.
Good man.
Best player you played against or coached against?
Say that again.
Best player you played against or coached against?
Ooh. Shoot. Oh, David Carr.
Cancun or Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Mango or pineapple?
Pineapple.
Bo Jackson.
The realest.
55 seconds. J.J. Watt or Jason Taylor?
J.J. Watt.
Time. Which one?
He said J.J. Watt. Yeah, he said J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt. Okay. All right. Let's add them up. Coach, we got you a little bit on the best player one, and I played against D-Car. He was legit at Fresno. So we got the Boise, Idaho to Blue Turf one. We got the
we did beat him though, so I don't know. I guess I can put him
right.
We didn't. 3 with the soft shell taco forward, Jalen Ramsey. We got 5 on the Morgan Freeman. We got the 6 on the Dan Hawkins. We got 7 on the D card. We got 8 on the Hawaii. He's going with the pineapple for 9. Bo Jackson, the realist, for 10, and then J.J. Watt with the 11. And then we give 1 protect the leg, Coach. 1 protect the leg. So you got 12. Our high water mark is 15. So you did good, Coach. And we appreciate you with that. But let's revisit, because we always revisit. So if you don't know, the Blue Turf. So the school that he went to, Boise, Idaho, for some that don't know, most people do by now, they played on Blue AstroTurf. He said the Big Sky Conference. That's the conference that Eastern Washington's in. He said offense. So you young recruits out there, especially you offensive kids, you got to look at the Big Sky Conference. He's going with the soft shell over the hard shell, ladies and gentlemen. He's going with the Morgan Freeman over the Samuel L. He said tough. David Carr. David Carr is the best player that he's played against, coached against. And then, of course, we got the Hawaii, and then he followed up with the pineapple. So we know a little bit more about Coach Nurse now and got into his mind, and we appreciate you taking the time with us, Coach.
Yeah, the Jalen Ramsey's tough because I'm a Jaguars fan. I'm like,
I hit your spot.
It's one of those deals of like, he is a good player, but man, he should be way more productive for what he is.
Yeah, but
off a
that's
skill
probably
set.
preparation too. With just like we
It
said.
is. He's not a dumb individual. He's just, I think he's a
No.
guy that kind of relied too much on it, and now it's kind of catching up to him.
Mhm.
So you got to be
Yeah.
willing to
Great
put in the
point.
work a little bit.
Great
But,
point.
Yeah,
but he's also playing NFL and made millions of dollars, so he's done a nice job. So
true. True.
Yeah, no, he is a freak.
point.
But
Good point.
we are on to our next topic, and we definitely appreciate that, Coach. The Q&A portion. So if you guys are in the chat, you happen to be live with us, you've got a question for Coach, do not hesitate, put it in the comments section. But I know, Q, that you had some things in mind for Coach. What were you thinking?
Well, here's a coach. Here's the other question I got, Coach. Is in the recruiting process, and I know you've seen this before. I ask coaches this all the time, to the college coaches. What do you have to say in the recruiting process for overbearing parents, especially dads?
that's tough.
Because you could have a great kid. He has all the intangibles, grades, and all that.
Great
but
question.
You got these overbearing parents, especially like I said, this overbearing dad that's making demands or whatever the case may be. That's really kind of this, putting a sour taste in your mouth. So what can you kind of speak on that in regards to?
The biggest thing, because this is probably too, like it could be any dad, but I'll say this probably happens more with quarterback dads a little bit, just because of the
I can imagine.
The number one thing is you gotta let your son make the decision. I think that's the number one deal, and you gotta let him. Don't. I mean, you can give him advice, but you gotta let him be him, and let him choose the right place for himself. Because if he's choosing because to make you happy, which he will do probably about 95% of the time.
Right.
He's probably not going to be the greatest decision for him because it's not the experience that he wants. Because every college has a different experience that's going to offer the kid.
Right.
Like this, we saw in live terms, and even though he's not their son, you look at Arch Manning. Arch Manning went to Texas. The grandfather went to Ole Miss, uncle went to Ole Miss. Uncle went to Tennessee. But he would start to go to Texas because they decided to let him make the decision for himself. And the toughest thing with a parent, no matter what it is especially now because we want to be helicopter, we want to make the kids make the right decision, and understanding like they're going to make bad decisions. they just are. They're young people, and so you got to let them be them, but let them full-heartedly go full tilt, make that decision, and make them understand like, hey, this is your decision at the end, and make them work out the pros and cons, make them be the executive of the estate and make them make the decision. But it is tough though dealing with those parents because sometimes they just want the right answer. And like this, like anybody, they'll pick and prod to get the answer that they want. It's like,
have you ever not recruited a kid? Because
that was right. That was my next question.
Being too much?
At times, yes. Because end of the day, I want to talk to the kid because I'm going to be communicating with the kid more than you. You are. Obviously, you're going to be in his life and obviously you're going to be around, but at the end of the day, they got to make their own way.
Right.
When I went to college, my dad had, and he let me make my own decision on it. It's like one of those things like, do you want to go there? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And sure enough, it's one of those things of you got to be willing to let your kids make decisions, and you got to trust them, and you raised them. You got to be willing to step away. Hey, I know they're going to make a decision. I'm going to advise them, but they're going to make this decision in the end.
Right.
And the more times they make that decision, they'll be happier with their decision.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Awesome. One more question for you, Coach. Actually, a couple questions, but I wanted to ask you about camps. We've got camp season upon us, and obviously you guys are going to have a bunch of high schoolers descend upon your football program. Talk to us a little bit about your feelings on camps. Do you think a lot of these kids are going to the wrong camps? And do you guys actually give opportunities out of camps, or are those things kind of already set before camp?
No, I think if a program is a program that values the aspects of football, like the number one thing in football to me is physicality, because end of the day, nobody's going to be playing 7-on-7 out there. We're playing tackle football with helmets and pads. So you have to make an evaluation come somewhat based off of them, off their football film. Now, obviously, if you only have a chance to see them when they're just wearing shirts and shorts, you can make your own, adjustments and assessments from there, like what you want to do. You can see some things happening. Like obviously, if you're questioning a kid's height and you see him in person, okay, he's truly 6'2", okay, and he's moving the way he is, okay, I can make that decision pretty quick. if that was my only problem. But if my question is like physicality, my question is true movement skills. My question is the ability to adjust in the hole or something as a running back. Then I need to see in person with some pads and stuff like that. But the one thing we try to tell kids all the time, because they ask this question, like, how many camps should I go to? Like, well, first off, don't try to go to 10 because you're going to run out of steam. Because at the end of the day, your best film is going to be your senior film or your junior film or whatever it is that you put out there. That's your film is your resume. End of the day, like nobody in America, I'm pretty sure, recruits kids off of 7-on-7 film. Unfortunately, they just don't. They look at some aspects that they need to see and everything else, maybe some adjustment to the ball and stuff, especially as a DB, be able to track the ball. But I still, as a DB, I don't take cover corners. I don't take post safeties. We play defensive back. We can come up and smack dudes, and then we're going to also go get the ball too as well. So we need to be able to see both things on that thing. But no, it's one of those things. It's a totality deal that they need to trim down what they're looking at. I think there's probably, you go to a couple of these camps, they always have some of these mega camps everywhere across the country. I think it's good for those kids to go compete and show what they can do in front of a bunch of people and see if they can show up or not. But then take your time from there and then go to 2 to 3 camps where you're in front of that staff and really work in front of them so you can get your feet and hands on and ask questions that you want. Because if you want to be somewhere, get in front of them. That's always my best advice. You want to be somewhere, get in front of them, get on the campus, and really talk and ask questions. You do those things, I think you'll be okay.
That's good advice right there, Coach. And then as far as if there's a kid who's off your radar and he's showing out at your camp and you think he's a dude, how does that work? Do you guys as a staff go back and watch the high school film, or have you seen enough where you don't even worry about the high school film? How does that scenario work?
Everybody's different on it. Me personally, and I know how our staff works at Eastern, and I think do a good job of evaluating guys. Obviously, we were going to look at if a guy shows up out of nowhere and we don't know anything, we're going to go back and do our homework and make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. Because that guy may be able to show out, but the simple fact is that these guys are student athletes, not athlete students. So if we're going back and that guy's he's a 2.0 student, that's not probably a good thing for him. These guys, we're trying to make sure we're putting great dudes back out to the community to be great assets to their community when they go. And so we got to go back and check the tape. Like, did this guy play at all, or he just was hurt? And sometimes kids been hurt. You also hear things kids get hurt as a junior and may not have no film. So you got to go back and check and make sure. And like, oh, okay. So maybe we have to track him a little bit longer than we wanted to. So we just got to constantly, go through our processes to make sure that we crossed every T and dot every I to make sure that we make the right decision in the end.
Perfect. Right there. Well, hey, you guys are getting it, how it all breaks down. Some of you guys are getting ready for the camps. You guys are on tour with your parents, and parents are coming out of pocket so that you guys can find a college home, and you're looking for somebody like Coach Nurse to put that offer in your back pocket. So we want to give you guys some insight. Coach Hughes says good information, Coach, and he's got a superstar in his house, Elijah Hughes, and definitely a young cornerback that we're trying to get to a coach like you, Coach Nurse. So we are excited, you guys, because we've got a whole plethora of amazing guests like Coach. But tonight, you guys got it straight from somebody who has lived it. Not just talking about it, he's lived it. He's on the road right now recruiting, and we definitely appreciate your time, Coach. Thank you.
No problem. I see one thing in the comments. Ask me like, hey, do birds really fly into the turf at Boise State? I've seen it.
Coach Foss.
I didn't believe it until my very last year working there, and I actually saw a bird with a broken neck on the turf.
Wow.
With a broken neck, it didn't even die, Q.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just limping around with a broken neck.
Yeah, I never believed it. I literally never believed it until it was like one of the last 5 practices we have, and I was like, you gotta be joking me. I see a bird I'm like, there's a bird on the field? Yeah, so it has a broken neck. I was like, yep.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, it's true. It's true. What you hear about the blue turf is true, Coach E. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of tonight. I know you did. And Coach Nurse, we love you for coming on, and thanks for holding us down.
No, appreciate it, man. Anytime.
All right.
Oh, Coach, where can they find you at too? IG, Anywhere, how can kids
Hey,
reach
you
out
can
to
find
you?
you can find me on Twitter at Coach Wes Nurse.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All
Good
right.
stuff.
So
Yeah, make
at
sure and
Coach
have them
Wes
reach
Nurse,
out.
you young recruits, you parents out there, you guys find out what camps that coach is going to be there so you can show out and make something happen. So appreciate it once again, Coach, and safe travels and happy recruiting.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, Coach.
All right. All right. So there you guys go. That's Coach Nurse. We give it to you guys real. We got people that are on the road taking their time, Q, to shoot it to these young people and give us the 411 on this industry, man.
Oh, definitely. I mean, man, guys like Coach, man, it don't stop, man. There's so many kids out there. That's why you have to work so hard. It's thousands of kids that are going after the same goals, so you have to, you can't imagine sometimes, how hard that you have to work to be up to par to get an opportunity. But again, that's why when you have the University of Texas at Rio Grande, that's a huge opportunity. That's huge
big.
opportunity for more kids.
That's big. Yeah.
It's
Coaches.
a lot of dogs out here, man. It really
Yeah,
is.
and it's a trip because UTSA, I mean, didn't exist when we were playing, and then obviously you probably hadn't heard about it until the last 5 or 4 years. But they're in bowl games now,
Been
and
balling, yeah, been
they're not
balling.
going anywhere.
Nah,
Yeah,
no, they're steadily getting in great players, and they'll continue to improve more and more year by year as a program. But they're doing
definitely.
really well. As a matter of fact, more than likely, they'll probably be in the top 25. Preseason poll. They finished up strong. So, yeah.
What's your thoughts on the managing culture, man? I mean, can you have a top 5 team in college football and be squeaky clean off the field? Is that
That's
possible?
It is possible, but that's tough. That's tough
Okay.
because you're talking about young men playing in front of 80, 90,000, 100,000 people, on TV. You got NIL deals. Some of these kids now, I mean, coach, are making more than their. You see what I'm saying? I could, if I'm making 2 or 3 mil, my D coordinator play, I'm in safety and I'm making, 2 mil, and my coach making
but now
800,000.
I've got the female comparison too, because now there's some females that are
Oh,
making 2
true.
or 3 mil.
True.
We don't see the females speeding. We don't see the females,
Right.
getting into all of these issues. The
Right,
domestic
but see,
violence.
but that's the difference, though. We talking about football. See, here's the thing: football is the ultimate gladiator sport. It's the height of machismo, man. It's this testosterone thing. So that's why all these other issues come along with it because of who we are as players. You have to be built different to play this game. But it's it's that testosterone thing that you understand, but you can't quite explain. But that carries over into off the field doing dumb stuff sometimes as well. That's why
So as a coach, there's a certain level of expecting it. Is what you're saying.
almost, yeah, and especially if you're a coach that played as well. Obviously, that was a player. You get it. And on top of being young, there's gonna be, but it's about how you keep. Try to have limitations on. It's levels to it. As Meek Mill say, it's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you don't do dumb stuff, man. But you gotta, you have to keep in mind.
And we've talked about Colorado, seeing if they can manage this with all the
They're
new
gonna have
blood.
to. They're gonna have to. So it's levels to the mistakes that are being made by these kids.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that obviously we'll keep an eye on, you guys. But hey, another great show. That's Coach Nurse. He loves Before You Go Pro. He loves the locker room show. He's looking at many of our recruits, but he's always just one in the network that's ready to feed into you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Q, anything for the good people before we get out, brother?
You know what? Actually, now, you know what, Coach? This shots out, man, to Jamie Foxx, man. Can we all just throw a prayer for Jamie Foxx? Like, man, we can't lose him, Coach. Like, that's
that's
an
crazy, man.
inspiring dude. Man, obviously,
Amazing.
man, love, his character, Willie Beeman, man, but super, super talented dude. So definitely be praying for him, that he bounces back and continues to, inspire us, through his great talent.
Great point right there. Yeah, shouts out to Jay Fox, and it's unfortunately, but keep your health tight. All of us keep our health tight. Love on the people around you, because nothing's guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is we'll be back next Thursday with another banger for you. You already know that. And we got a great guest. I already got the guest, and I'm not even gonna tell you too much, but there's somebody that you're going to want to check out, but whoever he touches goes to the next level. That's all I'm going to tell you. So you guys will see next week, and you guys have a great weekend. I'm Coach Wood signing off for the Locker Room Show. That's Q, the Guru, and we will definitely see you at the top. Have a good one.